All right, everybody. It is time for another office hours. It's been 3 weeks approximately since we did our last office hours. We've gotten sick, we've been traveling, and now we're back. And why are we back? It's because office hours is a place where we come as a PPT family and try to bring you tips, tools, tricks, things that'll help you in your paymentpreneur goals, strategies. And I don't do that by bringing myself on because, well, I know some things, but not a lot of things. I bring the people who are in charge of making sure you guys know everything. And if they don't know it, they go find it. Our trainers on the center part of the screen from Warsaw, Indiana, living in the home of Tigerdom, Mr. Mike Stetzel. Mike, how are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Ready to get going again here. Like you said, 3 weeks off. Let's get on. Let's get it.
Let's get it. We took a little time off. What excited me was, as I get right in my camera, see, I'm not even in my frame here. What excited me was I know that I met 3 people that came up to me and said, hey, I've watched the office hours. A couple others, seen some others of our video content. But Jenny, anybody come to you? Because we were just at WSAA last week, a week ago from today. We were walking the show floors and talking to people and having some good dinners while we were at it in Las Vegas. How was your time, Jenny Rickle?
It was so much fun connecting with everybody. I did have a few people come up to me and say that they've watched the show amongst others, right? So I love that our presence is out there and that you guys can actually come up and meet us in person at the shows as well. It was really, really great connecting with people, meeting new people. So if you guys ever get a chance to come out there to any of these shows that we have throughout the year and come meet the PayProTech team, like it's such a great time. So, and then glad to be back home, right? I love it here in the mountains, and Las Vegas is great, but I love the quiet as well. So glad to be home, glad to be grinding back at PayProTech.
It is. It's good to be back. And I'm going to already, as an early on September 26th, so basically almost 9 months in advance, tell you that our next giant blowout will be in Orlando, Florida at the JW Marriott as part of SEAA. We're working on that right now. So go ahead and start planning. I think it's June 2nd through 4th. Don't quote me on that because I'm not looking it up. It's that first week that first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of June. I know it's like 3 days after my son graduates high school. So I'm hoping to work that part of my birthday present into him. And yes, Danny, I do know when my son graduates high school. He always says, how do you know that already? It's on my calendar, Danny. I'm sorry. No, so today we're going to talk about firsts again, and we'll do that again next week. But we've been going through what would you do first. So one of the most important firsts you do is when you meet a new merchant, whether in person or on the phone. And we're going to try to give you a couple things that we would do first to try to engage them. I'm going to start out and steal an answer that I don't think either of these would take, either Mike or Jenny would take. First thing I would do is put them into my CRM or however I'm managing my contacts, literally as fast as I possibly can so I don't forget to follow up. Now, I wouldn't look away and say, hey, excuse me, but if they give you a business card, put it in a way that you deal with it as soon as you walk away. However it is, make sure that you have some type of record of that interaction with this new merchant. That would be number one. Who wants to go next? Who's going to steal and make sure they get theirs in?
Well, my next one, I'll go ahead and say, was going to be to then ask questions. So then when I say ask questions, when you go ahead and meet somebody, just kind of get a feel for the type of business that they do, right? Are they a large ticket, small ticket? Are they going to be more, what is their presence within the businesses that they do? They do have a lot of locals. Do they have a lot of volume? Really good to know how their volume is coming in and out. And then from there, you can kind of see what kind of equipment would they like, right? Do they want something simple? Do they want something with a lot more inventory? Kind of just get to know what their style, because you can really tell by somebody's style and how they operate on what would be the best fit for the equipment. You truly could. So really try to ask questions, get to know them. But then back to what Nate was saying, I love that. Put those notes in the CRM. So then you can refer back to that and say, hey, I remember talking to you and I remember that you needed something mobile. Let's go ahead and follow up with that conversation, right? So definitely ask questions. But then I love that, Nate. I'm actually going to steal that for sure. Take notes so you can follow up and refer to them at a later point in a later discussion.
I don't know how many times I've been talking to some of our sales partners. It's happened to myself too. I talked to that person. What was their name? And especially if you're a prolific cold caller and working with lots of people and interacting, you're not going to remember all their names. And no matter how mnemonic devices you put in there, names, places, do everything you can. I mean, there's one I was talking to last week. They take a picture of everyone because they're nearly all in person. They're going to the store. They take a picture of the store. They try to take a picture of the person. They do a selfie, anything to remember what they're doing, and then assign themselves a task to follow up. Not all, some of you are the power of the 1 minute close, but a lot of you, it's going to be multiple times of interaction before you close them, and making sure you have that. Mike, how about you? What is something else that they should do first? Not, you can't do it all first, but these are the first things we'll say. First principles.
As you're meeting the merchant.
Yeah.
I think to piggyback on something Jenny said about, asking them questions, in addition to things she's talking about, what do you sell? What do you do here? People, for the most part, like to talk about themselves or their business and what they do and why they do it. And it really can create a pretty quick bond. And man, this lady is really interested in what I have to say, or this dude really wants to learn about my business. And so it can help lock you in a little bit as a good guy, good lady, because as we know, and as we always talk about, there's a lot of us out there, and we're not all good people. We're not, unfortunately.
Mike is laying down some wisdom. By the way, world, there's some bad people out there. Just watch out. All right.
Right.
You never know what might.
It's a bold prediction.
Yeah. Here. Yeah. Just read our Google reviews. We know some of you out there are doing something. Number one, Nate's coming for you. He's going to get you shut off when you get a bad review put off. I'm just telling you right now, because it drives me nuts. We have thousands and thousands of partners, and a few bad eggs ruin the reputation. That's true as a payments as a whole industry. So I like that, Mike. But certainly engaging.
Nate's coming for the partner, not the merchant. He's not trying to shut them off, just so everybody knows.
No. But our partners who are misrepresenting.
Yes.
So we're looking for you, and we're gonna make sure we're
candid on this show.
Hey.
Lay it out here today.
I always say there's always Roger Goodell always says he's for those who don't know, NFL commissioner, and he has, and I think it was before him. It may have been Tagliabue or one of the other commissioners that started it, but they always say protect the shield of the NFL, and I think of that a lot when we're trying to protect the brand. And that's why we encourage a lot of you to sell into your own brand, so no one has control over your own brand. Go look up some of the stuff where you say about branding yourself and white labeling. But two, even with the PayProtect brand, we're not in control of it all, but we're going to protect it the best we can and try to make sure that we're actually telling the story of who we really are, not just a few bad apples. And when you're going out in the industry, knowing that there are a few bad apples, there are a few, not all. I think,
absolutely.
But most of you are doing the business the right way. We do it. All right. Now, next question, guys. We had our merchants, we just met them, but let's say we got them, they got through application and they get to approval, and we can go a whole gamut of things. But what are you going to do when you first get them approved? And obviously there's different things and changes. There's a difference how you handle a merchant when they're just using an Ingenico Desk 3500 versus when they're using a, retail cloud point of sale or Greta POS. I'm recording a thing on Greta, so I'll use that. To sneak, come listen to POS Sensor. There's going to be a new content on Greta POS being recorded here later this afternoon. But Mike, Jenny, what would you encourage our partners to do when our partners finally, or some of them, get their 1,000th merchant approved? What are things that they're doing that makes them the most successful? Who's first? Jenny, you're up.
Okay, I was ready to talk anyway.
I heard the breath, so I went right into it. There you go.
I do like to talk. Now, use the Payments Hub portal as a tool to view activation. Right there under merchants, there's actually a tab that'll show if the merchant's activated or not. So this is going to be a really good gauge to just, has your merchant actually use the equipment, right? So if they go a few days and you don't see anything activated there, give them a call. Make sure maybe they need training. Maybe you can connect them with their tech support just to go through their basics of, sale, void, batch out every day, make sure they understand that. But first and foremost, do what's needed to make sure they're activated. So monitor the Payments Hub to make sure that they do activate. And then maybe just do a follow-up once they are activated. Make sure they're okay. How's everything going? Are you happy with everything that you have? It really helps to make that connection, because the less that you're present into their day-to-day, the more you're easily forgotten when somebody else comes along, right? So be in their face, make sure you watch what's happening, and make sure they activate, and use the Payments Hub portal to go ahead and view that and gauge that.
Love it. Mike, what says you?
If you are staffed this way, or if you're a one-man show and you have time to do this, you know what? They're going to get the email. You're going to get the email that says they're approved. Give them a call. Hey, I just want to thank you for trusting us. It looks like we've got you all approved. So the next thing that's going to happen is that equipment's going to ship. You'll get a tracking number. I'll have the tracking number. How about if I plan on coming by next Monday to hook up that terminal and just make them feel like, hey, this process is moving right now. Our goal is, in many cases, to get the old terminal out of there. So if you show up, first thing you can do is hook yours up, unplug theirs, and put it in a box and be done. So keep the urgency, keep the excitement, saying, hey, great, we're all set. I'll come see you next week.
I like that. Here's one of the things I would say as I pull up the screen, and I was doing a little math here in my thing, but when you start getting to certain benchmarks, and you have to define that yourself, but I'm going to use, and I think a common one is every 100 merchants that you activate, you need to change your workflow and how you do work. And there's simple things. If you want to be a lone ranger, which a lot of our partners do, they don't want to manage staff. We're going to talk about what you can do when you want to have a staff in just a second. But you want to work by yourself. You don't really figure out how to hire some virtual assistants. Go out to some. There's so many companies that are really reputable that are giving you that will let you use someone for 2 to 4 hours a week that can do some of the things that Mike was just saying. And every time, watch those little benchmarks and celebrate those benchmarks. And you figure out ways to multiply your services. And I was just talking to one of our partners. They just taken 4 years off from selling merchant services, and it was great. They were able to do it, but they had started to see that dip because no matter what you do, if you don't constantly add more merchants in, you're going to start seeing some churn and some downturn in your residual. And he said he regrets, he just totally basically stopped. But he said I should have just at least hired someone. Spending a couple $100 a week would have saved him a couple $1,000 a year. And you can do those little investments, those little first things. So that'd be the thing. The other thing is, what would I do first when I get a merchant who's activated or getting ready to activate is celebrate the milestones with the merchant, especially those merchants that are really valuable to you. If you're going after a bunch of merchants that are going to make you $10 a month, you probably can't do this. But if you're working at merchants who are celebrate the points and journey, this is something I've been trying to work on our team with doing this with your partners. And we're working on some ways to do this. Is celebrating the milestones, celebrating when you have activations, when you have your 100th activations, when you get to 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, $250,000 a month of residual. That's what our goals are for you. They're that aspirational. And so doing that for your merchants and figuring out, making sure you send them when they have birthdays or you notice they have a special, or celebrate the moments, including getting approved. You know this. I mean, we approve 90% of our merchants. But getting approved, getting a new piece, it's a work project. So it's not so much the approval, it's the process of changing to our processing. And let's celebrate that when it happens. Because each one of these merchants are worth time and energy to keep them moving and make sure they're processing them. So let's celebrate that. So now I'm going to ask one last question today at first, and we'll do one more section of first next week. When you bring on a teammate, so those who don't want to be lone rangers anymore, whether they do W-2 partners or 1099 partners, when you bring someone on who's going to sell with you, or I don't like under you, we'll call them sub partners, or, I don't know what we call them, but they're teammates that are coming alongside and they're going to sell and you're going to be able to work with them. What is the first thing you would do? Mike and Jenny, what are some of your ideas there? Mike?
Boy, you first bring somebody aboard is, if you haven't already done so, share some information, and you may have done this in the interview process, but share some additional information. Hey, you know what? Let's introduce you to a few other people that are part of my company, and these people are going to be a resource for you too for these 3 reasons. Let's just get you familiar with your surroundings. Get a place set up in your home where you can work. And we're going to get you set up with your phone extension, all these different things, or your cell phone, whatever we're going to do, just to get them comfortable before you really blast them with all the technical knowledge that eventually is going to come. Just shoot for some comfort for them.
Yep. Jenny, how about you? What would you say?
I would I like that a lot, Mike. And then in addition to that, have them shadow you for a day. When you're
Yeah.
going out and making sales and doing installations and supporting your merchants, have them shadow you so they can really get a feel what that's like working day to day with the businesses, talking to the merchants, right? Learning the meeting, the approval, the things like that we were just discussing. The more hands-on and the more that they are able to see what you do, the more that you'll be able to train them to show them what you're working with, the merchants that you're going to be introduced with, and also the communication and how they can go ahead and go about having those conversations with merchants, right? Some things are just better like seen. It's just so nice when I'm around here in my office being able to listen to everybody else and really communicate with everybody and hear them speaking. It really helps us when we just are able to have that community. So have them shadow you, have them just really pick up on the things that you do day to day, and it'll really help them grow quite quickly.
And I would add in, have them watch the incredible content on the YouTube channel MyPayProTech and all the other video content at mypayprotech.com. Hey,
as always, yeah. Send them to us. We'll train them too. You can send them to us and we'll train them, of course, right?
That's it. So, all this, we're just trying to get, it's important to do some of the first, we call it first, but there's these things that you should do that's going to make you most successful, whether it's the things you do daily, weekly, monthly that we talked about last time, things when we have new events like new partners and new merchants, and we'll move on to some new firsts next week. But as we close this week, we are going to have a final word from Mike Stetzel. He didn't know that, so he gets this time to try to figure out what that final word is.
From Mike.
Mike Stetzel, it's all you.
4, 3, 2. Okay. Final word today. Wow. It was a surprise, and that's okay. We've done it that way the last few times, and it's fun. So, final word today as we begin to wind up September. Here it's hard to believe another month is gone. Fall is officially here. What's going to be new this month? I've thought about this before. If someone wanted to sit down, as Nate mentioned, and go to the mypayprotech.com YouTube channel and pick out 5 videos to watch, spend an hour, and maybe it's a few of ours, maybe it's a few that are POS Uncensored, a couple with Danny. Whatever it is, there's going to be something that trips your trigger. Nate has been very diligent and, variety oriented in getting different messages and all these different offerings that we have. But take some time and go find something that trips your trigger and make you go, you know what, that's the tip I'm going to work on this week. Or I'm going to do that next time I get a new merchant, or whatever the case is. There's just tons of stuff out there. Tons of stuff out there on that YouTube channel and in the mypayprotech.com channel. So check it out. Take some time. Spend an hour. It's all I would ask.
There we go. Well, on behalf of Jenny Rickle, who is that way. There we go. Way over there. There we go. I got it right there. Mike Stetzel in the middle, right over there. And Nate Manahan here. Thank you so much for watching Office Hours. Go to your YouTube, like, subscribe, all those things. That helps us out. Just, kind of getting into that. We're not trying to be extremely, we're not looking for the next big 1 million videos, but we're trying to get in front of people who are wanting to take payments to the next level, and all types of little ways. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of the PayProTech family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.